3rd, 2025. I am calling this meeting to order. Members of the Commission will attend the meeting in person at the location listed here, and we are present. We have quorum. Members of the public are invited to observe the meeting in person at the physical location here listed above, and also to participate remotely online at SF-Gov TV 2. Members of the public attending in person will have an opportunity to provide up to 2 minutes of public comment on every agenda item. I will ask in advance for anyone who may be presenting any public comment on the Villancourt Fountain, Agenda Item 8, to reserve your comments on that matter until it is before us. That is Agenda Item number 8. I'm calling the meeting to order. Are there any agenda changes?
No agenda changes.
Will you call the roll, please?
President Collins?
Present.
Vice President Shiota?
Present.
Commissioner Beltran? Will be here shortly. Commissioner Benavides?
Present.
Commissioner Brenzel?
Here.
Commissioner Carney?
Present.
Commissioner Ferris?
Here.
Commissioner Moosley? Commissioner Perez?
Here.
Commissioner Quint?
Present.
Commissioner Rothschild?
Present.
Commissioner Shelby?
Present.
Commissioner Walker?
Present.
Ex officio so is absent. We have quorum for today's meeting. Also for the record, Director of Cultural Affairs Ralph Remington, Deputy Director of Programs Eben Glenn, Deputy Director of Finance and Administration Sarah Hollenbeck, and Acting Chief of Staff Veronica Limcaco are in attendance. President Collins?
Thank you. We will begin our meeting by the land acknowledgement of the Ramaytush Ohlone, and I'm asking Commissioner Perez to read the acknowledgement.
Thank you. The San Francisco Arts Commission acknowledges that we are on the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. As the indigenous stewards of this land, and in accordance with their traditions, the Ramaytush Ohlone have never ceded, lost, nor forgotten their responsibilities as caretakers of this place, as well as for all peoples who reside in their traditional territory. As guests, we recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland. We wish to pay our respects by acknowledging the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community, and by affirming their sovereign rights as First Peoples. As a department dedicated to promoting a diverse and equitable arts and cultural environment in San Francisco, we are committed to supporting the traditional and contemporary evolution of the American Indian community.
I would like also to remind us and remind myself and members of the Commission, please turn your cell phones in their off and silent position. I've embarrassed myself before this public body, and so I would just take time to make sure that your phone is in its off position. Thank you. I'm now going to repeat some of our public meeting instructions. I'd like again to welcome all persons interested in this meeting to attend in person at City Hall Room 416. This meeting is airing live on SF-Gov TV 2, Comcast 78, Astound 26, and AT&T UVerse 99. I want to remind us of the policies and procedures for public meetings. At this meeting, we are bound to follow the structure of our agenda and adhere to the best practices set out in the Good Government Guide. At every public meeting, there will be an opportunity for general public comment where members may comment and the public may comment on any item pertaining to this body. Public comment will be taken in person with remote access provided for those who require an ADA accommodation. Respectfully, we ask that you keep your public comment on topic. Each public comment will be limited to 2 minutes. Please understand that the Commission does not contribute dialogue towards public comments. Each public comment will be documented for public records. As a courtesy, the 4th floor has a women's restroom located on the northeast side. men's on the southeast side, just outside this room, and an all-gender restroom on the southwest side. In case of emergency, your nearest stair exit exists at each corner on each floor. It is recommended to pull the fire alarm and use the stairs. The fire alarm is a variable tone, and strobe lights will flash. If strobe lights flash and alarms go off, you must evacuate the building. We are also aware of where all of our defibrillators are deployed near us in case there should be that type of emergency. I will now turn this over to our Commission Secretary, Manraj Dhaliwal, for public comment instructions.
For members of the public joining in person who wish to comment on agenda items, once you are called on, then you will be asked to voice your comment at the podium. You will see blank public comment cards are located on the podium. You are recommended but not required to fill out this card, which will be included in the minutes. I will start your 2 minutes when you speak using a visual timer. You will also receive a 30-second audible warning. When your time is up, I will say your time is up. Participants who wish to speak on other agenda items may listen to the next public comment opportunity. Persons who speak during the public comment period at today's meeting of the Arts Commission may supply a brief written summary of the comments to be included in the minutes if it is 150 words or less to art-info@sfgov.org. The Arts Commission may reject the summary if it exceeds the prescribed word limit or is not an accurate summary of the speaker's public comment. Persons unable to attend an Arts Commission meeting may submit correspondence to the Arts Commission in connection with an agenda item. The Commission Secretary will post these documents adjacent to the agenda if they are 1 page in length. If they are longer than 1 page, the Arts Commission will make such documents available for public inspection and copying. Please note, correspondence submitted to the Arts Commission will not be read aloud during the meeting. Names and addresses included in these submittals will be public. Submittals may be made anonymously. Written comments pertaining to this meeting should be submitted to art-info@sfgov.org by 5 p.m. before the date of the meeting to ensure comments are shared with commissioners ahead of the meeting. If you need to request a reasonable accommodation under the ADA or need to request language assistance, you must contact the Commission Secretary at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting at art-info@sfgov.org. Our office will make every effort to accommodate all requests. President Collins, please proceed with the meeting when you are ready.
Thank you. Having read the land acknowledgement statement, I will now call agenda item number 2. Agenda item number 2 is the approval of the minutes, discussion, and possible action. I'm reminding commissioners to please state their name as they make the motion and to make the second. I'm calling for that, please.
So move Shiota.
Second, Beltran.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on agenda item number 2, the approval of the minutes?
For those joining in person, please proceed to the public comment podium and fill out the public comment information card. We are currently on item 2. As a reminder, your time will start when you begin speaking. You will see a visual timer on the podium and receive a 30-second audible warning before your time concludes. I'm requesting comments from those who are in person. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment on the current agenda item? Seeing no request for public comment is now closed.
Thank you. I'm now calling agenda item number 2.
I will get a final motion first.
I'm sorry. The motion has been made and seconded, correct? Is there any further discussion on that? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing no opposition, motion passes unanimously. I'm now calling agenda item number 3. General comment is agenda item number 3, general public comment. This allows members of the public to comment generally on matters within the Commission's purview, as well as to suggest new agenda items for the Commission's consideration. And I've prior stated that any comments on the Villancourt Fountain will be reserved to agenda item number 8. Is there any general public comment on this item number 3?
For those joining in person, please proceed to the public comment podium and fill out the public comment information card. We are currently on item 3. As a reminder, your time will start when you begin speaking. You will see a visual timer on the podium and receive a 30-second audible warning before your time concludes. Requesting comments from those who are in person. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment on the current agenda item? Hi. Sure. And, time will start once you begin speaking.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Jack McCarthy, and I'm a resident of District 5 and a board member of Docomomo, U.S., Northern California. The agenda for today is missing hundreds of records. I am submitting for the administrative record physical copies of a subset of over 580 documents that Docomomo US Northern California formally submitted to the Arts Commission and other San Francisco policy bodies. These records include public records from Recreation and Parks, Planning, Board of Supervisors, and Art Commission, including agendas, meeting minutes, presentations, press communication, reports, recordings, map, renderings, and more, all showing the clear trajectory of this project. Also included are statements and letters from a variety of established local, national, and international experts that disagree with the project sponsors, and archived versions of relevant press, statutes, case laws, policies, and prior CEQA materials. San Francisco and the Art Commission is statutorily bound to include these materials in the Vinecourt Fountain administrative record, not as public comment, but as evidence used. As these materials cover a significant amount of time, in total tens of thousands of pages, it is unlikely that you can hear the motion on the agenda today without biasing unfairly towards the selected documentation and narrative presented by RPD. We ask that you continue item.
This is item 8.
Until such
Excuse me,
time as you
sir.
review all the materials. Thank you for commitment to an open and transparent civic process.
Thank you.
And may I hand you the documents?
Sure, I can take it. Thank you.
And then I'll leave a copy over here on the table. Thank you.
Any additional public comment?
I will call it now if he doesn't.
Time will start when you begin speaking.
Good afternoon, President Collins, and to the entire commission. My name is Matt Joseph, and I'm a resident of Potrero Hill. As some of you may recall, I've given public comments before this body around my search into San Francisco history. This covers 9,000 hours of meetings, hundreds of thousands of files, and thanks to other people, tens of thousands of pages of city agency records. While today's agenda and attachments were published at 2 p.m.
I'm calling your matter out of order. I've asked for any comments on the Vinecourt Fountain to be your agenda item number 8.
Understood.
Thank you.
I do not mention the Vinecourt Fountain in my comment at all.
What are your comments referring to?
My comments are referring to the law, sir.
Could I get an interpretation from the city attorney, please?
I'm happy to skip ahead and read the civil code, which is the substance of my comment.
That's still related to item 8.
Am I allowed to read the substance of the California Art Preservation Act, which is within the scope of this commission, but not specific to agenda item 8?
But your comment is related to item 8. So you should provide your comment with agenda.
We will welcome your comments in agenda item number 8. Thank you.
Any additional public comment? Seeing no request for public comment is now closed.
Thank you. I am now calling agenda item number 4. That is the director's report. I'm introducing the Director of Cultural Affairs, Ralph Remington.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I hope you all had a wonderful October and a start to your fall as we begin November and head into the final 2 months of 2025. To kick off this month's Director's Report, I'd like to share a few highlights from some recent events this past month. The week of October 13th, I attended the 2025 World Cities Culture Summit, along with a delegation of representatives from the Arts Commission and OEWD and SF Travel. Also joining us from the Bay Area at the summit were San Francisco Ballet Executive Director Bronislav Henselman and Kenneth Rainin Foundation Executive Director Shelley Trott. At the summit, I was honored to participate and speak on a plenary session titled Stronger Together, Reflections on Leadership, moderated by Kate Levin from Bloomberg Philanthropies, along with art and cultural leaders Toria Meliani, Deputy Mayor for Arts and Culture for the City of Amsterdam, and Tommy Leitio, former Executive Director for Culture for Helsinki, to reflect and share our personal insights on challenges and hopes on how we can navigate uncertain times as culture and cities face rapid change around the world. Arts Commission staff also presented at a workshop session that focused on decolonization, led by Koma Tay, our Director of Communications, along with representatives from the cities of Amsterdam and Hamburg, where staff shared updates about our ongoing Shaping Legacy work with the monuments and memorials in our civic art collection. At the summit, WCCF also announced the release of the 5th edition of the World Cities Culture Report that uses data and case studies from member cities to highlight the impact of culture in creative cities globally. The week of October 19th, I attended the 2025 Grantmakers in the Arts Annual Conference along with Deputy Director of Programs Eben Glenn and a Race Forward board meeting later that week. That conference was also attended by Janelle Molina, one of our staff as well. On October 27th, the Board of Supervisors Rules Committee unanimously approved an ordinance amending the administrative code to require the Arts Commission to develop and administer a certification process to identify artists in San Francisco who may be eligible for affordable housing for artists. I'd like to thank Board of Supervisor President Raphael Mandelman's office who helped carry this legislation through the Rules Committee, and as well as thank Commissioner Marcus Shelby for attending and speaking on behalf of the ordinance, and the Deputy Director of Programs, Eben Glenn, for all of his work on this initiative. This $100 million project will bring 90 affordable housing units to the artist community, including a rehearsal space and a black box theater. Leading this project is the founder of SF Jazz, Randall Klein, along with housing developer Mercy Housing. This historical legislation amendment paves the way for more affordable housing opportunities for artists in the future. On October 29th, I'm thrilled to share that Mayor Daniel Lurie named Persia as San Francisco's second Drag Laureate. As Drag Laureate, Persia will serve as an ambassador for the art of drag performance, San Francisco's LGBTQ plus culture and community, and the city's nightlife and entertainment scene. Arts Commission staff participated in the selection panel, along with former Drag Laureate Darcy Drollinger, representatives from the Mayor's Office, Human Rights Commission, SF Public Library, Hormel Center, Office of Transgender, and leaders and representatives from San Francisco's LGBTQI plus community. The Arts Commission looks forward to working with the new Drag Laureate and will invite them to a future commission meeting to share a bit more about what they hope to accomplish in the role over the next 3 years. This past week, on October 28th and 29th, the Mayor's Office, San Francisco Arts Commission, Grants for the Arts, and the San Francisco Film Commission hosted 2 in-person arts community convenings that brought together cultural leaders, artists, community partners, and other stakeholders from across the city to hear updates on our shared vision to unite San Francisco's arts and culture work, ask questions, share feedback, and connect with peers across the community. These convenings were also an opportunity for City Hall to listen and learn from the experiences and art ideas of artists, culture leaders, and partners. We had over 600 RSVPs for the 2 in-person sessions and upcoming virtual convening session, which will take place this Wednesday, November 5th, from 1 to 2 p.m. via Zoom. We invite members of the public who are not able to join us in person to attend this virtual session to learn more. To RSVP, please visit sf.gov/artscommunityconvening. Some community investments updates. I'd like to share a reminder from the community investments team that the final deadline of the Arts Impact Endowment Grant opportunities for the 2026 funding cycle is due next Thursday, November 13th, 2025 by noon. Congratulations to our entire community investments team for all of their hard work during this application cycle with implementing a new streamlined application process and new advance payment and reimbursement policy that will apply to new grants made in 26-27 to align with citywide policy. Updates will be issued by the Controller's Office. Some art vendor updates. The holiday season is coming up fast, so this year, shop local and support San Francisco craft makers and artists. Please save the date and join us on Tuesday, December 2nd from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. for our annual Art Vendor Holiday Market in the lobby of the War Memorial Veterans Building. The market will feature a special performance by Yuko Laney from 12:30 to 3 p.m. Some gallery updates. I'd like to share a reminder that Two Bright Disturbances, a group exhibition curated by SFAC Acting Director of Galleries and Public Programs, Jackie M., is now on view at the SFAC Main Gallery through December 13th, 2025. The exhibition features work by Carmen Agote, Sky Hapinka, Kija Lucas, Aspen Mays, and Bonnie Ora Shirk, and explores land use and, in particular, the ways in which we utilize the land can be at many times extractive, devastating, and at times restorative. As part of our series of public programs for this exhibition, please join our galleries team on Saturday, November 15th at 2 p.m. for Body Draws the Room, Perimeter Trees, a performance by exhibiting artist Carmen Agote. Reminder, coming next Saturday, the galleries team would love to see you at the final event of the India Basin Waterfront Park Artist in Residency program. The India Basin Art Market, organized by curator in residence Rhiannon Evans McFadden and Salon Community Experiences on November 8th from 12 to 6 p.m. Hosted at the park, the festival is a celebration of autumn by the water. Enjoy DJs spinning groovy beats as local artists and crafters share, create, and connect. A micro exhibition anchors the evening's energy, blending sights, sounds, and community spirit under fall skies. Some public art updates. On Tuesday, October 14th, our public art team, in partnership with the San Francisco Public Library, announced the completion installation of a new temporary mural by artist Belen Islas, created in partnership with Dr. Jonathan Cordero, Executive Director of the Association of Ramaytush Ohlone at the San Francisco Main Library. The 500-square-foot mural titled Aptem Tuhi, meaning to listen, will be on view at the main library for up to 2 years through fall 2027. Fabricated on PVC-free vinyl and a UV protective coating, the mural is installed in the library's atrium along the stairwell leading to the Fisher Children's Center on the second floor. Call for artists, request for proposals, and Shaping Legacy update. On Monday, October 20th, our public art team released a request for proposals opportunity for Civic Center Plaza temporary sculpture installation. We invite artists and artist teams residing in the United States, as well as artists represented by U.S.-based galleries, to submit proposals for the temporary display of an existing freestanding sculpture or series of sculptures of prominent scale in San Francisco's Civic Center Plaza, located in front of City Hall. Organized in support of Shaping Legacy, a Mellon Foundation-funded initiative to critically examine and reimagine San Francisco's monuments and memorials, this project supports a creative exploration of how public art can foster a more inclusive and representative civic narrative. The selected sculpture should embody inclusive histories, invite community dialogue, and enrich the collective understanding of civic memory and belonging. Deadline to submit application is January 12, 2026 by 11:59 Pacific Time. And as part of the ongoing Mellon Foundation-funded Shaping Legacy initiative, I'm happy to share our case study community engagement consultants are midway through their scope of work, having completed community story circles this past month. Upcoming programs through spring of 2026 will include artist activations and creative interventions in relation to the Christopher Columbus, Francis Scott Key, Padre Junipero Serra, Ulysses S. Grant, and the Dewey Monument case studies. Any decisions regarding removal, relocation, or reinterpretation of specific monuments will be made through an open, public, and transparent process following SFAC's public art policies and guidelines and presented to the Arts Commission for approval. SFAC follows nationally recognized museum and conservation standards for the care and preservation of all civic monuments. These works are stored indoors in secure, climate-controlled facilities under the supervision of professional fine arts specialists. Their handling and placement follow protocols established by the Secretary of the Interior, the American Alliance of Museums, and the American Institute for Conservation. This approach ensures the safety and long-term preservation of these cultural assets while future decisions about their public display are considered. More information about the Shaping Legacy project, the audit report, and upcoming programs can be found on the Shaping Legacy webpage on the SFAC website. Some HR updates. I'm happy to share that we have hired a new capital project manager. Please join me in welcoming George Lee, he, him pronouns, to the Arts Commission, whose first day is today, November 3rd. So welcome, George. There he is. In person, George. Welcome. Thank you. The Capital Project Manager will report to the Deputy Director of Programs, Eben Glenn. The Capital Project Manager will manage ongoing projects at San Francisco's cultural centers, including planning, organizing, and analyzing complex and sensitive projects in the area of capital budgeting and planning, as well as contract administration for the arts and culture sector. George joins us from the Greenlining Institute, where as Director of Greenlining the Block, he led an accelerator supporting 24 grassroots community development partners, developing a $200 million pipeline of capital projects in historically redlined neighborhoods. Welcome again, George. Glad to have you here. And with that, this concludes the Director's report for the November 3rd full Commission meeting. I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Director Remington. Are there any comments or discussion from members of the Commission? Commissioner Brenzel?
Yeah, Commissioner Brenzel here. 2 questions. The housing you mentioned at the beginning, that sounds great. Is there a location for that housing? Has that been determined where that the affordable artist housing is going to be? Do
Market
people know?
Street.
It's on Market Street. What's the exact address? I can't remember.
It's the old mattress place.
McCroskey.
McCroskey.
Oh, okay, great. I think that's wonderful that people know where that's going to be. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
The second thing is, one of your slides differed with something you said. It said something about the deadline. The deadline for grants is December 13th or November 13th? The slide said December 13th. It's November 13th. So just for everybody's clarification, it's November 13th. Thank you.
Are there any further comments on the Director's report? And I would call attention to the upcoming convening at India Basin on Saturday. It really reflects a tremendous collaboration among various elements, leading to public art, to a park that has now received a global award as one of the most important new parks literally in the world. And so when we think about how we cooperate in this city to create public spaces that are equitable in their nature, accessible to populations that have not had accessible resources, directly on the waterfront, with programs that really will bring this to life, including great art. And so I would encourage anyone who has not been out there to please go out there and visit it. It is a real work of art. Commissioner Walker?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, the convenings that are going on have been really well attended. I think that it's really an important discussion that's happening. A lot of our infrastructure is in the process of changing. I think that we heard a lot from community there, the concerns, and it sort of, for me, has underlined the importance of us all working together on this and communicating in advance of the changes. I think that there was confusion a little bit about people anticipated that there was going to be a plan released, and in fact, we are in the middle of trying to talk with community about how to move forward. So I just want to reiterate, there's another one on Wednesday that's online. Do we have the information about how to?
It's on.
If we can put it up on site again, people can sign up for Wednesday's meeting online so you can be informed and know how to input, because at this point we are looking for community input, especially folks who are already part of our infrastructure of arts delivery out of the city. So it's been a really good way to get the people involved who are affected by our Arts Commission, Grants for the Arts, Film Commission, entities that they have input on their concerns and making sure that they're heard. So thank you for doing the 3, and there's one more online. So if you haven't been there yet, or if you want to input more and hear, it's really a good opportunity to participate.
Thank you, Commissioner Walker. Any further comments from members of the commission? Seeing none, is there any public comment on the director's report?
For those joining in person, please proceed to the public comment podium and fill out the public comment information card. We are currently on item 4. As a reminder, your time will start when you begin speaking. You will see a visual timer on the podium and receive a 30-second audible warning before your time concludes. I'm requesting comments from those who are in person. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment on the current agenda item? Seeing no request for public comment is now closed.
Thank you. I'm now calling agenda item number 5. These are committee reports and committee matters. I'm calling agenda item 5.1, which is the Civic Design Review Report, and I am introducing Chair Deborah Walker to present the report on the Civic Design Review Committee.
Thank you, President. Our committee reviewed 2 major design projects. For the Westfield Cargo Building 720.1 and 742, the project team presented a unified design with metal finishes and improved natural light. Building 720.1 adds expanded lobby glazing, better detailing, and wellness features, while Building 742 includes stepped massing, refined entries, and updated lighting. The Phase 3 review was unanimously approved. And you see the slides here. And then next, the Moccasin Warehouse Building conceptual review. The project features a durable, functional design with sawtooth roofs for natural daylight, solar panels, and materials consistent with nearby buildings, emphasizing efficiency, environmental performance, and alignment with the site's industrial character. Commissioners unanimously approved the conceptual review. And again, see the slides here. This concludes my report. Any commissioners want to add any? Commissioner Carney?
Commissioner Carney here. Thank you, Deborah. Both of the buildings were considered to be huge successes.
Yeah.
There's a little more work to do on the Moccasin site. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Moccasin site, it's part of the Hetch Hetchy system where we obtain our water. It's a beautiful part nearly to Yosemite, and we're doing our best to help all of these projects fit in.
Yeah, that one in particular really includes the natural habitat and a ponding pool. It's really a beautiful place to work, as well as accommodating the water flow. So, and thank you for the input on that. Okay,
Any further comments or questions from members of the commission? Is there any public comment on the Civic Design Review Report?
For those joining in person, please proceed to the public comment podium and fill out the public comment information card. We are currently on item 5.1. As a reminder, your time will start when you begin speaking. You will see a visual timer on the podium and receive a 30-second audible warning before your time concludes. I'm requesting comments from those who are in person. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment on the current agenda item? Seeing no request for public comment is now closed.
Thank you. I'm now calling agenda item 5.2, which is the Community Investment Committee report, and I'm introducing Vice Chair Janine Shiota to present the report.
Thank you, President Collins. We went over several grants at the Community Investments meeting of October 28th. The first was a special project grant, Filipino American Development Foundation, Cultural Placemaking and Circuit Network, Night of Ideas. So this slide, the Community Investments Committee reviewed and recommended the approval of 2 special project grants. One is for the Filipino American Development Foundation to work on cultural placemaking in the Soma Filipinas Cultural District. These funds come from the Public Art Trust and were advocated for by the community. The second grant is for Night of Ideas, a partnership between the Arts Commission and the SF Library that has taken place over the last 3 years. This grant is going to Circuit Network to curate the next 3 years of this annual event. The second was the American Indian Cultural Centers grant. The committee reviewed and recommended 2 grants for the American Indian Cultural Center. One will go towards development developing office space for the organization, and one is for their annual operating support. Both grants were slightly delayed due to compliance issues that have now been resolved after much work by the Cultural Center and Arts Commission staff. We are pleased to support this organization and be able to award these grants. And the third, FY26 grants outreach update. Senior Program Officer Jonelle Molina, Program Officer Jennifer Chu, and Cultural Ambassador Nihan Roth presented about the current grants outreach. The Arts Commission Arts Impact Endowment Grant category, which funds organizations and artists, is open for applications. The deadline to apply is November 13th, 2025 at 12 p.m. All applicants can schedule a 15-minute consultation with a staff member to discuss this application. So far, the staff has conducted over 65 consultations and responded to over 240 email and phone inquiries regarding the grant opportunities. In partnership with the communications team, community investment staff hosted 3 Instagram live sessions covering organizations, artists, and common tips for grant seekers. Also, for the first time this year, the team piloted video posts from current grantees leading up to the application launch. Featured grantees including Emmanuel David Blackwell III, Megan Lowe Dance, and Chin Chin Su. If you are a San Francisco-based arts organization or artists and are interested in applying for these grants, please email sfacgrants@sfgov.org or go to the sfrcommission.org website for more information. And then item 4, we got a staff report. The Director of Community Investments, Denise Pate, reported on the staff's work since the September release of the FY25-26 grant guidelines. Director Pate noted the information sessions, webinars, and community meeting staff have conducted, including the team's relationship with the Disability Cultural Center. The Community Investments team presented a hybrid accessible grants info webinar at the newly opened location. Director Pate described the Community Investments team recent working group meeting where staff discussed how to approach the application eligibility review this year. This is important since the team will be managing an increased workload with the FY26-27 as the advance payment policy and quarterly reporting ramp up. To report on the Community Investments Committee. Site visits were discussed, including those most recently attended by Director Pate, which included Lorraine Hansberry Theater, SF Batco, the GLB Historical Society, and Opera Parallel. Director Pate went over what a good site visit looks like, which includes information about the audience, the work presented, and the grantee crediting of the San Francisco Arts Commission as a funder. Director Pate noted the recent Cultural Center meeting held with Program Officer Coco Duhan Kelly, Senior Program Officer Jonelle Molina, Senior Compliance Officer Molly Behrens, and the Cultural Center directors. The Community Investment staff rolled out the new nonprofit requirements for organizations receiving over $200,000 annually from the city and the new disbursement policy. The Cultural Center directors also made announcements about their work. So that concludes my report.
Are there any questions or comments from members of the Commission? Commissioner Walker.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. I have a question because there was a recent meeting where we discussed the cultural centers, and I know that we've hired a new employee to actually sort of focus on that more. I mean, we're talking somewhat about managing those relationships better and looking historically at the cultural centers and what the agreements are and how we look at what's happening with them, since there are buildings run by others, you know. So was that discussed after the meeting? Was it, or just the fact that there was a meeting?
No, that was not discussed during, yeah.
I mean, it would
know
really
that
be good to have that as part of a community investment meeting, report back to us at some point about what the needs are and
Right, getting more dialogue and
Yes.
and attendance at meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Precisely. Thank you.
Yes.
Any further comments? I will note that there are certain actions that we will see in the consent calendar that formalize the decisions that were made in the Community Investments Committee. So this is the report on them, but the actions in terms of the allocations of the grants and such, you'll see in the consent calendar. Is there any public comment on this agenda item number 5.2?
For those joining in person, please proceed to the public comment podium and fill out the public comment information card. We are currently on item 5.2. As a reminder, your time will start when you begin speaking. You will see a visual timer on the podium and receive a 30-second audible warning before your time concludes. I'm requesting comments from those who are in person. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment on the current agenda item?
Susan.
Seeing no requests for public comment is now closed.
Thank you. I'll now call agenda item 5.3, the Visual Arts Committee report. And I am introducing Committee Chair Susie Ferris to present the report on the Visual Arts Committee.
Thank you so much, President Collins. I am happy to present the Visual Arts Committee report for October 15th, 2025. We reviewed the recommended proposals for 2 opportunities under the San Francisco International Airport Terminal 3 West Modernization Public Art Project. First, you can see here the artist review panel recommended the conceptual design proposal by Teresa Baker for the wheelchair lounge. The art wall in the wheelchair lounge is approximately 16 feet high by 14 feet high, roughly 224 square feet. Teresa Baker, a Los Angeles-based artist and alum of California College for the Arts in San Francisco, creates abstract landscapes. The proposed artwork captures the artist's vivid memories of the Pacific, colors from greens of the trees, the pinks, mints, and yellows of painted SF houses, to the grays and blues of the ocean and the sky. The mixed media artwork will consist of astroturf, yarn, beadwork, bronzed willow branches, and aluminum cast seed pods. You can see the example here in the slide shown. One thing you can't see because there isn't, I don't think, a close-up of the work is just the texture that's involved in these materials. They are kind of new and novel materials for large-scale piece at SFO, and so really looking into the conservation and how that work will be not only protected but maintained. Next, we have, in slide 2, the artist review panel recommended the conceptual design proposal You're Here by Jennifer Wofford for the Artist Art Wall. The Artist Art Wall occupies a transitional space between terminals and measures approximately 7 feet high by 20 feet wide and about approximately 140 square feet. Jennifer Wofford, a San Francisco-based artist and educator, has a practice that spans a range of media. The proposed artwork presents a mixed group of open water swimmers at the shore, wading into the water as the sun hangs low, reflecting colors into the bay's waters. The artwork is designed to invoke a warm feeling of arrival to the Bay Area while emphasizing the region's mysterious natural beauty and cultural legacy. The artwork includes local heroes of the artist, such as Charles Chapman, the first African-American swimmer to swim to Alcatraz, artist Joan Brown, SFAI archivist Jeff Gunderson, and others who participated in Open Swim in the Bay. The artwork will be fabricated in Byzantine glass smalty. So you can see the example here. I mean, it's hard to really understand that this piece that you're going to see is all going to be made up of small mosaic tiles. And again, I know I say this and with every project we do at the airport, but it is worth recommending just to remind us what an amazing airport we have. It is its own museum in its own right. It's something San Francisco is so proud of, and these artworks will add to that collection. Also another example where it is an opportunity to tell the story of San Francisco, our community, our culture, the people that live here, the land of San Francisco, as people are coming and going from San Francisco. So beautiful pieces, looking forward them to being added to the collection. Lastly, I just want to mention, I don't think we have a slide for, we did discuss the big art loop. Just want to make sure that that is on everybody's radar. As pieces are going in, they will attract people from all around the world as part of San Francisco's beautiful landscape. I'm hoping that people will respond to the RFP and we'll get a broad range of pieces that go in. It's also a great example, again, of private and public collaboration and partnership. So with that, I conclude the report for the Visual Arts Committee.
Thank you. Are there any comments on the Visual Arts Committee report by members of the Commission? Seeing none, is there any public comment?
For those joining in person, please proceed to the public comment podium and fill out the public comment information card. We are currently on item 5.3. As a reminder, your time will start when you begin speaking. You will see a visual timer on the podium and receive a 30-second audible warning before your time concludes. I'm requesting comments from those who are in person. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment on the current agenda item? Seeing no request for public comment is now closed.
Thank you. I'm now calling agenda item number 6, the San Francisco Arts Commission Galleries Mentorship and Exhibition Fellowship discussion, and I am introducing Acting Director of Galleries and Public Programs, Jackie M.
Hello, good afternoon, Commissioners. I will be presenting our upcoming program and spring-summer exhibition in the main gallery. We are excited to announce the second iteration of our program, the Mentorship and Exhibition Fellowship. This program is designed to support emerging artists in the Bay Area by providing resources and space for meaningful professional development, culminating in an exhibition at the SFAC main gallery. As a reminder of our previous iteration, I've included images from When Unearthed Sites Collide, an exhibition that featured our first two fellows, Shireen Kalatbari and Sun. As you can see in the images, both artists very much took advantage of the gallery space, and I can say that they both found the fellowship to be very fruitful and rewarding for their professional practice. We are very excited to bring this program back for 2026. Go back. Okay. Earlier this summer, we held a request for qualifications for emerging Bay Area artists with the aim of selecting two for this program, one artist based in San Francisco and the other based in the greater Bay Area. We received 124 applications, and we are thrilled to announce the selected artists today. Kelly Finley is an interdisciplinary artist whose work is autoethnographic, primarily working in sculpture, textiles, and performance. Finley received her MFA from California College of the Arts and BFA in Sculpture and a BS in Art Education from Kutztown University. Her work has been exhibited internationally in Hong Kong and Italy and across the U.S. Recently, she was an artist in residence at Recology and participated in Edge on the Square's annual Contemporary Art Festival. Finley uses textiles, sculpture, installation, and performance to explore mixed identity and embodied experience through segmentation. Rooted in historical and legal records of Chinese immigration in the places that they have lived, their work is searching for evidence of exclusion and erasure. This research acts as both grounding and ghost, threading through the work as a subtle but insistent presence, connecting personal lineage to collective history. Trisha Rainwater is a Choctaw multimedia artist based in the San Francisco Bay Area with roots in the Central Valley and in New Mexico. Her multidisciplinary practice spans self-portraiture, sculpture, large-scale murals, and installation, and her work has been presented at institutions including Berkeley Center for the Arts, ICA San Francisco, MoCA Toronto, ICA San Jose, and San Francisco Camera Work, among others. In 2022, Rainwater was awarded a grant from the San Francisco Arts Commission to document herself along the Choctaw route of the Trail of Tears. Grounded in themes of identity, loss, and survival, her work offers a distinctly Choctaw perspective on grief and resilience. Through her practice, Rainwater confronts histories of erasure and displacement by revisiting sites of pain, transforming them into spaces for remembrance, resistance, and collective healing. We are very excited to be working with Shireen Makarimi again for this program. Shireen acted as the mentor for the first mentorship and exhibition fellowship, and we got such great feedback from the artists, so we've decided to invite her back for this round. Shireen Makarimi is an Iranian-American artist and curator based in San Francisco. Makarimi is the former director of Incline Gallery in San Francisco, where she curated and facilitated exhibitions and programs. She enjoys working with emerging local artists, collaborating and supporting them to take a leap with their practice. Makarimi has worked with a number of Bay Area organizations, such as Zaman Project, Southern Exposure, SF Camera Work, and SOMARTS. Makarimi received her BA from San Francisco State University in Studio Art and Art History. So, thank you. Whoops.
Thank you. That concludes your report?
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's it.
I'm calling for any commissioner discussion or comments on this report. Seeing none, is there any public comment on this agenda item number 6?
For those joining in person, please proceed to the public comment podium and fill out the public comment information card. We are currently on item 6. As a reminder, your time will start when you begin speaking. You will see a visual timer on the podium and receive a 30-second audible warning before your time concludes. I'm requesting comments from those who are in person. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment on the current agenda item? Seeing no request for public comment is now closed.
Thank you. I'm now calling agenda item number 7, which is our consent calendar. Before we go any farther, are there any recusals or withdrawals on matters before us in the consent calendar by members of the commission? Seeing none, may I have a motion, please, and a second?
So moved, Shiota.
Second, Ferris.
Is there any discussion on the consent calendar by members of the commission? Seeing none, is there any public comment on agenda item number 7, consent calendar?
For those joining us in person, please proceed to the public comment podium and fill out the public comment information card. We are currently on item 7. As a reminder, your time will start when you begin speaking. You will see a visual timer on the podium and receive a 30-second audible warning before your time concludes. I'm requesting comments from those who are in person. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment on the current agenda item? Seeing no request for public comment is now closed.
Thank you. May I now ask for the final motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Seeing no opposition, the motion passes unanimously. I'm now calling agenda item number 8, which is entitled The Removal of the Villancourt Fountain. We have a motion to approve the removal of the Embarcadero Fountain by Armand Villancourt, SFAC Accession number 1971.46, to protect the health and safety of residents and visitors from identified structural deterioration and to move it to storage, following the provision of required notice to the artist and interested members of the community under the California Art Preservation Act, and to allow further investigation of the extent of deterioration to the physical structure and consideration of possible restoration, repair, relocation, repurposing, or other future actions relating to the fountain, and to affirm the Planning Department's determination under California Environmental Quality Act that this action is statutorily exempt from further review under Section 15269 of the CEQA guidelines. This action constitutes the approval action for the project for the purposes of CEQA pursuant to San Francisco Administrative Code Section 31.04H. I am now introducing the Director of Public Art Program and Civic Art Collection, Mary Chu.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Today, you will be provided with a presentation regarding the removal and storage of Valancourt Fountain for health and safety reasons. A reminder that at the last full commission meeting in October, Senior Registrar Allison Cummings provided a brief biography of the artist, Armand Valancourt, and an overview of the history of the fountain, including the design competition that was run by the San Francisco Redevelopment Agency in the 1960s, and noting that the fountain has been both an iconic and controversial work since its completion in 1971. Joanna Goodwin, the Recreation and Parks Department project manager, overseeing the Embarcadero and Sue Bierman Park renovation project, provided an overview of recent reports and findings on the fountain and actions taken by the city in response to the reports. Since the October 6 full commission meeting, the Recreation Parks Department has received additional documentation that has led to the motion that is before you today for your review and action. I'm introducing Project Manager Joanna Goodwin to present on these recent findings and provide context for the proposed action today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Joanna Goodwin, Project Manager with the Recreation and Park Department. We're here today requesting approval to remove and store the Embarcadero Fountain by Armand Valancourt, also known as the Valancourt Fountain, due to immediate health and safety hazards. This is an emergency measure to protect public safety, to allow for further investigation of the extent of deterioration to the physical structure, and also consider possible restoration, repair, relocation, repurposing, or other future actions related to the fountain. The Valancourt Fountain is a highly complex structure. These drawings show how technically complex the sculpture is. Originally built as a fully integrated system over 50 years ago, the fountain's electrical and pumping infrastructure circulated nearly 30,000 gallons of water a minute, with steam rising from its base and light emanating from inside and outside the concrete arms and along the water basin. The electrical conduits and mechanical piping are highly integrated into the structural framework itself, running through the hollow precast concrete arms and connecting directly to the underground pump vault. The structural steel core and welded plates are encased within the concrete panels. This integration now makes it extremely difficult to isolate or assess the full extent of deterioration without disassembly. Designed to be interactive, the fountain once invited the public to climb, explore, and experience it firsthand. Since the final water pump failed in May 2024, the fountain has been dry and inoperable. Unfortunately, due to significant structural degradation that the conditions assessment identified, the city has had to prohibit all direct access for safety reasons indefinitely. Today, the 710-ton fountain contains deteriorated concrete, corroded structural steel, and hazardous materials, and its mechanical and electrical systems are beyond repair. Rec and Park has taken initial steps to prohibit access, such as installing fencing, mesh screens, and safety signage. The site sits at the center of civic activity, adjacent to the Ferry Building and Market Street. Despite these protective measures, the fencing and mesh screens have been repeatedly breached, and individuals continue to enter the fenced-off area and even sleep within the concrete tubes. Since the October presentation, the Department of Building Inspection has reviewed and concurred with the independent structural assessment following their own site inspection and evaluation. DBI has directed that the site remain vacated and secured, and advised that the city act to abate the hazardous conditions consistent with the engineer's recommendations and strengthen the existing security measures. In response to DBI's letter, we will be installing taller fencing and increasing security measures. However, this is not a sustainable long-term solution. Even the most secure fencing can be breached by determined individuals. Together, these actions and the conditions assessment make clear that disassembly and secure storage are the appropriate next steps and safe path forward, allowing the city to take immediate actions to eliminate the identified hazards, providing an opportunity to investigate the full extent of damage to the fountain. As mentioned last month, we conducted investigations of the fountain, and recent reports found severe structural deterioration, such as cracking, spalling, corrosion of internal steel, which has reduced structural capacity. A particularly critical condition, as seen in the image on the upper left, involved one of the cantilevered 10-ton concrete arms, which is now resting its weight on another arm, introducing unintended loads and partial structural failure. This unplanned load redistribution between the structural members introduces a significant life safety concern, as it demonstrates that one of the fountain's massive concrete arms has already experienced partial structural failure and is now bearing weight in ways it was never intended in the original designs. There is also discontinuous and missing reinforcement steel, confirmed that by the ground penetrating survey. This was the non-destructive testing that we've already performed in connection with the conditions assessment. This revealed that the back wall of the fountain, image shown on the upper right, contains no steel reinforcement at all. This existing condition contradicts the construction drawings, which show that the wall was intended to be anchored to the foundation. There is also a missing structural element, a post-tensioning rod, shown on the image on the bottom right, the lower left corner. This was critical to maintaining tension and resisting bending. It was found missing. We don't know when or how this has happened, but it does reduce the capacity of that arm by 25%. The fountain itself was built on unconsolidated fill and bay mud, which is prone to settlement and liquefaction, further undermining structural stability. Even under ideal material conditions, structural engineers determined the fountain structure does not meet current seismic or safety standards and is likely to yield or deform under both design basis and maximum considered earthquake loads. The underground pump room, which all the systems are connected to, is routinely flooded and unsafe for maintenance staff as it does not meet OSHA standards. There's also failed waterproofing. The basin membrane has failed, allowing water infiltration that accelerates corrosion and cracking. In addition to the corrosion of internal steel connecting rods that was observed by DCI, the structural report notes that additional internal corrosion is also likely pervasive throughout the steel plate lining that is used to reinforce the precast concrete elements of the fountain, which significantly decreases the ability of the fountain to withstand future seismic events and may prevent the fountain from continuing to support its intended mass. The extent of this corrosion cannot be determined without disassembly of the affected elements of the fountain. Taken together with the repeated breaches of the city security measures to access the fountain, these conditions represent a life safety emergency. The fountain's structural system is failing, its subsurface environment is unstable, and its infrastructure cannot be safely accessed or maintained. Since June 2025, RPD has fenced the site, added mesh barriers to prevent access to the tubes, and install signage. Despite these measures, unauthorized entries and vandalism persist. Staff have found personal belongings and sleeping materials such as a mattress inside the tubes. The site at Embarcadero near Market is at one of the most prominent intersections. It's the host of charity walks, protests, and large gatherings. Just last month, an anti-ICE protest attracted thousands here. With crowds of this size, it is not feasible to keep people away. At the same time, the fountain remains in an active state of corrosion and a site for collection of discarded trash and graffiti. Ongoing deterioration and public intrusion make indefinite fencing ineffective and unsustainable. Further, having a massive fenced, guarded structure in a key downtown space runs counter to the city's goals of a downtown revitalization and is not a cost-effective solution. The immediate priority is to eliminate the potential for injury. However, additional investigation into the full extent of corrosion, hazardous materials, and structural failure cannot be conducted safely without first dismantling the fountain. Disassembly is the recommended option, which allows engineers to quantify corrosion, verify drawings, which I mentioned do not match the as-built conditions, and consider seismic upgrades. This will also eliminate the risk of structural failure. In addition, the waterproofing membrane at the basin has failed, so this fountain would need a ground-up restoration to function as a safely functional fountain again. Because the hazardous materials such as asbestos-containing materials and lead-based paint, are integrated into the fountain structure, it would be extremely difficult, unsafe, and impractical to perform major restoration work entirely on site. Disassembly and analysis will also allow for a more precise cost estimate by allowing the structural engineers to see inside the arms and evaluate corrosion, structural connections, and necessary reinforcement. Because of its location next to the bay and the continued deterioration of its internal structure, if the fountain was not removed, its corrosion will only worsen with time. The proposed off-site work plan involves a careful 2-month disassembly process followed by secure storage and evaluation. Work to dismantle the fountain would commence no sooner than 90 days after the city provides required notice of its proposed plans in compliance with the California Art Preservation Act, CAPA, requirements. With your approval of this emergency removal, we will engage a historic preservationist to use the existing 3D model we have of the fountain to develop a detailed plan for removal, disassembly, and storage for up to 3 years. This will include comprehensive documentation such as cataloging, labeling, and photographing components of the fountain to support future planning and potential reassembly. During the storage period, the city will conduct testing and analysis to better understand the fountain's condition, explore options for possible restoration, repair, relocation, repurposing, or other future actions relating to the fountain, and allow time for interested parties to raise funds. In coordination with the Arts Commission, the removal methods will be reviewed by a qualified conservator and contractor. The Arts Commission will not be responsible for covering these charges. Rec and Park will fund the consultant support, the disassembly, and secure storage for up to 3 years. This proposal is a careful, documented disassembly, a necessary safety measure that protects park goers and provides the opportunity for investigation. The Planning Department has recently issued a CEQA statutory exemption confirming that the proposed removal and storage action qualifies as an emergency measure. The Planning Department's emergency exemption recognizes that removal and storage are necessary to prevent or mitigate an immediate threat to public safety. Your vote today is the approval action for CEQA purposes. As a reminder, the full restoration of the fountain has been estimated to cost roughly $29 million in construction. Funding for full restoration is not currently available. Disassembly and storage would be approximately $4.4 million. Our immediate goal is to protect public safety, period. RPD respectfully requests that the Commission approve removal and storage of the Valancourt Fountain consistent with CAPA notice requirements, affirm the CEQA emergency exemption determination, enable the city to eliminate an immediate safety hazard while maintaining the opportunity for possible restoration, repair, relocation, or other future actions relating to the fountain. Finally, this is not the last opportunity for the Commission or the public to weigh in on the future of the fountain. Rather, this is a necessary step to protect the public and preserve options for the fountain's future. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm now calling for any commissioner discussion or comments on the report. Commissioner Walker.
Thank you very much for this. I know there's a lot of interest in this issue, and I want to thank our staff as well as DPW and Park and Rec. I feel like this is a generous movement by Park and Rec to fund a process for trying to find a path forward and getting as much information as we can. So I just want to thank our departments for working together on this. You know, I feel like the power of this piece was real and is real in how it was put in 1971 and took us through 3 or 4 different ballot measures to resolve taking down a freeway along the waterfront and memorialized a conversation, a dialogue, I think, between people who have many different opinions that often disagree with each other. And I just want to honor the intention of this piece, that it does exemplify the power of public art. That being said, public art this is one of those instances where, as commissioners, it's a learning process. It's an educational tool, not just for us, but for everyone, on the purpose of public art and the responsibility of the people making these decisions to probably better contemplate not just the immediate use, but the future of these pieces. It's our job as commissioners to choose art and be responsible for municipal funding. That's our job, you know. And so I really appreciate everyone's emotion and passion around this. I appreciate the staff from all of these departments working, hopefully, to have the conversation move forward and really find a solution so we can actually have a path forward. It can't stay here, in my opinion, in this condition, especially with all of what's been done by other departments. I appreciate the attention to the CEQA issues. I sat on the Building Inspection Commission for many years, and you know, these issues are very real. I also attended the one of the protests down there recently and saw how much of a challenge it is in this large public space that has thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people coming. It's our job and responsibility to make sure people are safe in these environments. So I just appreciate this conversation and appreciate the commitment to continuing the conversation, to have, you know, more information from us and all of us deciding. So I look forward to the next part, and I really want to emphasize that the commission, if we're deciding this, needs to be part of the conversation. And I encourage people from the private sector who are interested in this to really take advantage.
Thank you.
Is there any further comment from the members of the commission?
Commissioner Quinn, I just wanted to clarify one thing. The possible action is the motion to approve the removal. It is not to deaccession the work from our portfolio. Great. I just want to clarify that. Thank you.
Deaccessioning is not a part of this. Commissioner Carney?
Yes. My fear is that once it's removed, it opens the door to never coming back. It may go from temporary removal to permanent removal. If it is temporarily removed without a plan and funds in place beforehand to possibly restore it or move it, then its fate may be sealed, because once the artwork is temporarily removed, there might not be money to put it back. Plus, the pool and its piping and pumps, of course, will all be removed by then. We thus will be providing a blank slate without knowing if there will be the means and funds to put it back, if that's deemed feasible. And gosh, as an arts commissioner, I just don't want to put an art piece on the path toward deaccession unless it's gone too far to be saved. We don't have firm numbers yet, and thank you for explaining why. And getting them after the temporary removal may be too late. As one of the many architects who worked on this building we're sitting in right now, San Francisco City Hall, we didn't have to fully dismantle the building, of course, to know what needed to be done. I like that you spoke about taking parts of it to investigate what might need to be done. But anyway, this is a big step in what the future of this might be. And I'm glad that everyone seems to be open to, in an ideal world, if we could maybe move it or use parts of it. But that's a whole different conversation. But so that's where I feel about today.
Thank you, Commissioner Carney. Commissioner Brenzel?
Yeah. I guess my question is if it is in fact a life safety emergency or there's an imminent threat to public health safety, it's not clear entirely why the Arts Commission has to vote on that. It's just sort of, maybe this is a rhetorical question.
Why don't we, that's a question, then we could ask council to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to respond, that's perfect. Because it might be actually illustrative for the whole body. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Brenzel. That's an excellent question. So the reason that the Arts Commission would vote is that under the city's charter, the voters of San Francisco have provided the Arts Commission
with the authority that this commission, has to approve the removal of any artwork from city property.
Okay. And that's even under emergency kind of situations, which were just articulated.
Yes, there's.
Got it. So there's no
provides no
exception for that.
exception.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Musa?
Thank you. I have a question from an engineering point of view on the report. I just saw the report today. So, is it technically red tagged? Is the building that is so unsafe that, you know, like when we had an earthquake and we red tagged building, it had to be taken care of. There was no two options. So, I'm just curious about that part. If somebody could answer that.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's also an excellent question. DBI does not red tag public property. They only red tag private property. So this would not be considered. They would not red tag city-owned property.
Well, okay, maybe that's the technical term, but is it dangerous enough to be completely off? You know, that it is a building that's red tagged means it's dangerous, like it could fall.
That's my understanding from the exemption under CEQA for safety reasons.
Thank you. Are there any further questions from members of the commission? Seeing none, may I have any public comment? Oh, also, let me have a motion, please. A motion to approve the item. May I have a motion and a second?
Commissioner Walker, move to approve.
Second?
Benavides, second.
Thank you. And now may I have any public comment on this agenda item number 8?
Yes, before we start public comment, I just want to, for safety concerns, we will have 3 people stand here. If anybody wants to stand in line, there are stanchions outside the wall you can stand at. They will have priority as people come in. However, if you want to stay seated, we have staff that will help you up and get into line of 3. Just don't want to create a cluster and everybody be safe. Right there's perfect. Okay, just give you one moment and I'll start.
They don't know, but I don't even know what.
Thank you for everyone's cooperation, and public comment will start. Once you begin speaking, I will start your time.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Chair Collins. I'm Joel Koppel from the San Francisco Electrical Contractors Association. Very familiar with the plaza and the neighboring properties. While serving my apprenticeship program through the Electricians Local 6, and being a journeyman and a foreman electrician, spent many years working in these buildings. This part of town is very valuable, employing a lot of temporary construction workers, not just building the buildings, but maintaining them. And what we care about mostly is maintaining them safely. We work with the fire department directly. Our electrical code is a subset of the fire code. We install fire alarm life safety systems. So along with firefighters and police officers, we take safety very seriously. Looking back at working on construction sites, the best way to eliminate the possibility of accidents is to absolutely give them no way to happen. This is a public plaza. It's partitioned off, but I don't think it's safe to exist. Someone could easily climb over the fence. Someone could hurt themselves, and I just don't think it's safe to stay there. BXP and, again, with these neighboring important properties, public safety is of the utmost concern. You have a lot of people coming into San Francisco from the Ferry Building. You have a lot of public pedestrian traffic, and this is, having a safer plaza is going to encourage more people to come into downtown, more people to see the art in downtown, and revitalize the economy of downtown. Thanks.
Thank you. Next public comment.
afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Bridget Boylan. I have rented for more than 20 years at the Gateway Apartments adjacent to the Valancourt Fountain. I'm speaking today to urge you to respect the history, vision, and presence of that work. Please, as artists yourselves, art patrons, defenders of art, do your part to prevent the disappearing of this work, whether by an out-and-out trashing or by dubious warehousing of dismembered fragments and possibly eventually being further neglected and forgotten. I've loved this work from this time 40 years ago when my nephew held my hand to wander and wander around the splashing waterfalls and pond. I've watched the neglect over time. Nevertheless, even in deteriorated state, I don't see the Valancourt as a barrier to our waterfront, more as an echo and a reminder of our waterfront and its issues. It's a reminder of the precariousness of San Francisco with its connection to the history of the 1989 earthquake, as well as our mindfulness now of rising sea levels. Keep Valancourt in place as a controversial, respected, intriguing, one-of-a-kind anchor on our waterfront. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Jack McCarthy, and I'm a resident of District 5. The project's approach to CEQA appears flawed. First, CEQA looks at a proposed project holistically. As clarified in 1976 and 1986 court cases, CEQA requirements cannot be avoided by chopping up proposed projects into bite-sized pieces. The overall project is the Embarcadero Plaza and Sue Bierman Park renovation project, so the fountain cannot be considered a separate action or separate project. Second, planning confirmed last week that the fountain is a historic resource. Removing the fountain from its original location would have a severe impact on both this protected art and the Market Street Cultural Landscape District. RPD's statement that the renovation project would be subjected to all required CEQA review is contradictory and impossible. Third, emergency exceptions in CEQA are used when reacting to an event, usually an earthquake, flood, fire, or other unforeseen event. The fountain's current condition is a result of long overdue and admitted lack of maintenance, which is not an emergency under law. If we scrutinize the DCI engineer's report from the forms on the basis of this request, RPD's position does not hold water. To quote from the report, the steel plates will locally yield and deform, likely causing permanent deformation and shifting of the overall concrete tubes. While this sounds scary to a layperson, the report does not say that the structure will fail. It is only RPD's non-expert opinion that suggests it will fail. If we read further, we find the DCI engineers directly contradicts RPD's plan, stating that disassembly would require an individual to climb into the pipes and cut the steel plates. This would be an extremely hazardous effort. In other words, the DCI engineer's report states that RPD's suggested removal plan is extremely hazardous to workers. RPD would have you resolve hypothetical harm by putting workers in harm's way. Considering that the larger site will be under construction for at least a year, the potential to increase the security of the fountain in the short term prior to site construction is an easy and short-term solution that would allow the city to then actually meet its CEQA requirements. Thank you.
Next public comment.
Hello, my name is Allegra Fisher. I spoke at the last hearing on the Valancourt Fountain about the impact that San Francisco's diverse art and architecture had on my development as an artist and a designer when I was growing up in San Francisco. I have returned today to express how disheartened I am that this fountain could be removed for seemingly no reasons other than your neglect and the stylistic preferences of private interest groups. Styles and preferences are always changing. Cities themselves are always changing. I believe what makes cities so wonderful is how they preserve their history, bringing it along into the future for next generations to continue to learn from and enjoy. The removal proposal is too vague to imagine any future for the fountain. This commission could still choose to celebrate the rich art and architectural history that we San Franciscans are so lucky to have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Hello, I'm Chanel Vaillancourt, and I'm here to speak on behalf of my grandfather, Armand Vaillancourt. I'm a student studying mechanical engineering, and I adore the fountain. I have so many cherished memories of my mother playing with me on it, and I love dragging my hands across it and jumping over it. I remember the curiosity and pride that sparked inside me, and knowing something so special was made by my grandfather felt so inspiring as a kid. It's a vital piece of public art, not only enhancing the cultural landscape of San Francisco, but also symbolizing the resilience of my family and the rich identity of Quebec. The possible removal has left me extremely heartbroken and disappointed. The Vaillancourt Fountain is not merely a decorative feature, it represents a bold manifestation of creativity that challenges conventional aesthetic norms and encourages us to embrace life's inherent regularities. The fountain has served as an outlet for civic demonstration and anti-war activism for many, many generations. The preservation of this monument is not only about maintaining its structure, it's about honoring over 50 years of artistic heritage. What would it signify if we chose to prioritize temporary aesthetics over enduring cultural legacies? I understand the work and funding needed for its rehabilitation. Although the tactical feasibility regarding its restoration cannot be undermined, the bold structural integrity of this 40-foot deep sculpture embedded with steel table could without a doubt still be standing many, many years to come, still continuing to inspire pride among all ages and all cultures and all backgrounds. So I implore you to take more consideration and time on a plan for renovation. The Vaillancourt Fountain deserves our collective effort to be preserved as a distinctive emblem of San Francisco, one that celebrates our spirit and our freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Good afternoon. My name is Bernadette Kim. I am District 3 resident and also the Gateway resident who lives directly across from Superman Park and Embarcadero Plaza, where Fountain resides. I'm here today because I am very concerned about the safety and the health concerns as a breast cancer survivor, and also who's supporting the Embarcadero and Superman Park renovation project. I'm relocated from from Los Angeles to San Francisco 3.5 years ago. I often used to walk on this quiet Embarcadero and looking at beauty of the surrounding in this little piece of heaven for healing while I was battling breast cancer during a COVID pandemic, traveling back and forth from Los Angeles. And that's why I chose to live in San Francisco, to have a retirement home, and to especially choose to live where I do. Now, I have been frustrated and saddened by how our San Francisco is portrayed to the world. I know we have some serious issues in our city. However, San Francisco also offers joy, beauty, and life. I envision my San Francisco, my District 3, and my neighborhood to show vibrant life, joy, celebration, and wonderful future to the world. I want people to see our Embarcadero Plaza, which is a gateway to many people, to be beautiful and healing and joyful. Unfortunately, when I look at the fountain,
your time is up.
I see destruction.
Thank you.
And I want...
Your time is up. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah. Thank you.
Next public comment.
Good afternoon, members of the San Francisco Arts Commission. My name is Jackson Napier, speaking on behalf of the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce. The San Francisco Chamber strongly supports the Embarcadero Plaza and Superman Park renovation project. This is a critical step in advancing the shared goal of revitalizing San Francisco's downtown and waterfront, creating public spaces that are safe, accessible, and welcoming for residents, workers, and visitors alike. The Embarcadero is the city's front door, the first impression for millions of visitors and commuters entering downtown. It should reflect the best of San Francisco, vibrant, clean, and connected to the surrounding neighborhoods and businesses. The proposed redesign is about modernizing a key civic space to better serve our evolving city. This project addresses longstanding challenges with circulation, accessibility, and public safety while creating new opportunities for activation, events, and community gathering. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reinvest in the waterfront as an anchor for San Francisco's economic recovery and long-term vitality. We urge the Commission to approve the removal of the fountain and allow this important project to move forward for the benefit of our downtown, our residents, and our local community. Thanks.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Yeah. Dear Commissioners, my name is Kurt Strackmann. I'm a resident of Upper Market, a Docomomo board member, and a practicing architect. Recreation and Parks is falsely portraying the conditions and activities around the fountain as a recent development. Let's review their own records. In 1988, 37 years ago, the assistant building manager for the Embarcadero Center alerted Recreation and Parks to a growing homeless population living in the area behind the fountain. The permit issued to BXP in the early 2000s and still in effect today lists one of BXP's responsibilities as maintenance of paving and site furniture, including cleaning, janitorial services, power washing, and graffiti removal. Since the adjacent paddle courts have been in use, paddle balls build up in the fountain's basin. This paints a clear picture. RPD has been aware for more than 30 years that unhoused individuals gather in the public spaces and around public art, including the fountain. RPD has been aware for over 20 years that regular power washing and graffiti removal is necessary to maintain the plaza and fountain. RPD has allowed the installation of facilities, here the paddle courts, that increase the likelihood of people entering the fountain itself. So there is no recent development here. RPD's attempt to portray this as urgent falls apart in front of their own records. I urge you to reject this attempt to turn homeless people, routine maintenance, and decades-long challenges into scaremongering to accelerate their and Boston Properties development plans and making them irreversible. The fountain, once disassembled, cannot be pieced together again. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Dan Rabinowitz. I'm a happy and proud District 3 resident. Honor and fairness require that I remind the Commission and my friends and colleagues in the audience that I do strongly support the merger and continued development of Sue Bierman Park and Embarcadero Plaza. I believe this is an important development for our city for reasons which have been discussed elsewhere. But that's not the question which is before the Commission today. What is before the Commission today, I'd just like to observe, is a set of considerations which every museum in the world faces all the time. Our De Young, our Legion of Honor, our Museum of Modern Art, our Museum of the African American Diaspora, the Jewish Museum. Every one of the museums here faces the same issues that the Louvre, the Prado, the National Gallery in London face. Portions of the collection from time to time are placed in storage. Portions of the collection require assessment, remediation, reconstruction. Sculptures are moved from one plinth to another. Paintings are exhibited at one place in another place. What the Commission is doing is precisely what every museum must do, which is to take care of its collection in the broadest sense. You are not being asked to deaccession or to destroy. We are putting this aside in the potential that extrinsic funding will, in the long run, better informed by better engineering assessment, be available for a potential relocation and reconstruction of this piece. But this is a line run in the art world.
Time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Good afternoon, members of the commission. My name is Keith Ferris. I live in District 6, San Francisco. And my feeling is that that sculpture should be removed. But have you even considered the price of totally removing it and breaking it down into its various components? And not just putting it in storage, but just removing it permanently. As the previous gentleman said, in various museums, they also do things like permanent removal of objects. So I have another question. Is this part of your permanent collection? Have you purchased, has the city purchased the sculpture, the fountain? Anybody answer that question?
Sir, we're not allowed to comment. We only can receive your
you don't answer questions, okay. Anyway, I guess that is an ethical problem for the Arts Commission to come up with, whether permanent removal, restoration, or storage. And if it goes into storage, I'm with Mr. Carney. It will disappear. I don't think it'll ever reappear again. And it'll just be a constant thing on the budget over and over again. Anyway, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Hi, my name is Jeff Brink. I'm with DCI Engineers. We're one of the structural firms that provided an assessment of the fountain. I was going to answer questions before, but I don't know what the format is here, and I realize now I probably can't take questions from anybody, but I wanted to be available to do that if needed. I was going to comment. I know there was some conversation and questions about the need to disassemble the fountain in order to evaluate it, so I was going to comment on that briefly. We do a lot of structural assessments of structures throughout the city, including buildings, and one of the typical things we come across is that structure is hard to see when this building is completed, or in this case, the fountain is completed. The fountain is unique in the aspect that it is a composite structure. The steel lining, the concrete encasement, the steel tension rods were all basically embedded with each other and installed with each other. Similar to what we do in buildings when we're assessing them, we often have to ask the owners to selectively demo or tear out parts of the facade in order to be able to see what we need to do to assess it and determine next steps for structural repair. We're essentially in the same situation with the fountain, but it is a complex situation because of the fact it is a composite structure. The concrete, the steel are all embedded within each other. So taking out any part of it without taking down all of it actually becomes a structural challenge, a safety issue, trying to shore it up or temporarily remove parts of it to assess the level of corrosion, in particular within the steel encased tubes, is extremely difficult and I would say impossible to do. I know during our structural assessment, we considered climbing up into the tubes to evaluate them, but it really was not a viable option. That said, the level of corrosion, I think, is something that definitely needs to be addressed in order to determine next steps for whatever we're going to do with it. So if anybody does have any questions afterwards, I am available. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Hi there. My name is Adam Lynch. Founded a clothing company here in San Francisco about 15 years ago. We have 3 retail stores here in the city, employ about 100 folks who, many of whom live here, all of whom work in the city. I'll try to keep it really simple and brief. My perspective here, I'm just bringing as one of a local business owner who loves the city very much. I think on the merits of what's before you and the action before you, I think it's pretty straightforward. Best use of public funds would be to, selectively remove the project, and obviously from a public safety perspective, it seems like a pretty straightforward decision. I would say my second perspective is just to call out as a business who has been operating here for a long time, have been through COVID. It's been a really, really, really rough 4 or 5 years for us. We keep our folks coming into the office every day, supporting local businesses. That plaza down there, if this is a means with which we can revitalize that plaza, where I can have our employees who are either after work or coming to and from work on BART every day to spend a little bit more time in the city, great cities activate their public spaces in really special and new and revitalized ways. That's a really, really special potential area of the city. Just highly encourage the commission to support this great project and pave the way for some continued increased vitality in the city. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Good afternoon, President Collins, Commissioners, Director Remington. My name is Tita Bell, Chief of Staff to District 3 Supervisor Danny Sauter. Supervisor Sauter would like to urge this body to take action to remove this significant public safety hazard which has been brought to our attention by the Department of Building Inspection. We consider life safety to be a significant concern, and our office will always advocate to do what's best and safest for our public. The DBI has pointed out that the area should be secured pending abatement, and we know from our previous hearing that abatement will come at a significant cost. It's a sum that simply can't be justified, given that the city is fighting to save critical services. And the other thing that Supervisor Sauter wanted to bring back to this body is the notion that you are the stewards of our public art that has been procured for the enrichment of San Franciscans and people who visit our city. So as you deliberate this question and other questions relating to the fountain, please keep in mind what our local residents are saying, specifically the folks who live and work in the area, the Barbary Coast neighbors, the Gateway tenants. I believe that everyone, or the vast majority, support moving forward with the reimagining of this area, and we urge you to make decisions towards that goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Chris Wright. I'm here on behalf of Advance SF. Advance SF is an organization comprised of San Francisco's leading employers dedicated to a resilient and vibrant economy shared by all people working and living in San Francisco. For over 3 years, our organization has worked directly with city government, business, and community partners to advocate for solutions for our downtown economic core to become a more economically diverse neighborhood rich with experiences. We support the relocation of the fountain as part of the redesign of Embarcadero Plaza. The redesign of the plaza is an important part of re-energizing downtown. It's a chance to make this space pedestrian-friendly, culturally rich, and welcoming to residents, visitors, and tourists. The fountain was built nearly 50 years ago. Downtown and its role and its situation has changed dramatically since then. Relocating this fountain will open up possibilities for a reimagined public space that draws people back to the heart of the city. San Francisco needs spaces that meet today's needs, places that feel open, active, and connected to the waterfront. Revitalizing this plaza while finding a respectful new home for this historic artwork will help make downtown a more inviting and energized part of our city. Thank you for your work in considering this step towards a stronger and welcoming San Francisco. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the item here. My name is Andrew Sullivan, a landscape architect in the city of San Francisco. I had the pleasure to work with Larry Halperin from 1999 through about 2007. And had many conversations with him about this plaza and fountain specifically, both its kind of original state and the kind of evolving context around it, and also conversations around the renovation of Market Street that he was involved with, and the sequences of open space and fountains, et cetera, that are all part of a kind of a connected dialogue. I think understanding that context is important. I think what I would say is that it feels to me as a landscape architect who has gone through this process on many projects, both public and private, that has been a very disingenuous process from the beginning, both with the design through the design phases, which gave no opportunity or input regarding a potential renovation and or reimagination of the fountain and or any portions of the plaza within the context of what was being proposed. It was just off the table from the beginning. It felt to me once that became a noted issue in public meetings, the conversation transitioned to it's a cost issue. I think, again, that disingenuous is the word I would use to describe the cost estimate, the estimates that I've reviewed. And then thirdly, when there's been discussions of National Registry designation for this, all of a sudden there's a new emergency and the fountain has to be removed. If removed, to Commissioner Patrick's point, I don't see this coming back. I think it's, again, a smoke and mirrors way to get this out, get it out quickly, put it to bed for 3 years, and when everybody's forgotten about it, it can be
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next public comment.
Okay. Good afternoon, members of the commission. My name is Aaron Fenton with BXP, and I've been working with Park and Rec and OEWD to transform the Embarcadero Plaza into a world-class destination park. I stand before you today in strong support for the immediate removal and storage of the fountain in order to protect the health and safety of residents and visitors to the plaza. This is not a call to erase a piece of history, but rather a plea to prioritize public safety above all else. Let us confront the undeniable reality. The fountain poses an immediate and serious risk to public safety. The conditions assessment report prepared by Page and Turnbull is unequivocally clear that the structure is riddled with cracks, corrosion, and missing key structural supports that need to be addressed. Over the summer, Park and Rec erected a fence around the fountain to protect the public, but this is only a Band-Aid and not a practical long-term solution. I go to work at Embarcadero Center 5 days a week and have seen on numerous occasions in the past 2 months people breaching the fence with ease, and I fear worst-case scenario where someone could get seriously injured if a piece of the fountain fails. But here's the critical point. Whether the city ultimately decides to restore, relocate, or even deaccession the fountain, it must be disassembled. You can't diagnose a patient without extensive examination, and you cannot repair a fountain without accessing its bones. The plan to disassemble the fountain and store it off-site allows experts to conduct the thorough evaluation needed for any fix. This cannot be done safely and effectively with the structure intact. Commissioners, San Francisco thrives because we balance our creative soul with the practical demands of a living city. Approving this emergency removal today safeguards lives and buys time to properly analyze the fountain. And as I just mentioned, whether or not the fountain is restored or not, disassembling the fountain is the only available option to consider today. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Robbie Silver, President and CEO of the Downtown Asset Partnership, and we are the fiscal sponsor of the Embarcadero Plaza and Sue Bierman renovation project. We have the utmost respect for the artist and his work, and we understand that this is a difficult conversation, and we must have it as a community. But today's conversation is about the health and safety of San Franciscans and our visitors. This fountain has served the city and its visitors well for a time and a place. And that time and place was designed to create a civic public space faced away from our ferry building. Fast forward to today, with the freeway down and today's momentum for a reimagined downtown, this is our time and place to pave the way for a new 5-acre waterfront world-class park. I want to thank you all for having this consideration, and also thank our Rec and Parks Department for taking this discussion seriously and providing their due diligence on laying out what's best for Embarcadero Park and the project and its future of the space. We are really excited to, as the fiscal sponsor, to raise private dollars to make this project as shovel-ready as possible. So again, we can have a brand new waterfront park, and at the same time, we can look at doing our due diligence to figure out what's the best next step for this piece of art and potentially its new home. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kais. I'm a restaurant owner in San Francisco. I have 4 restaurants in the area that are directly connected to this area. I opened my first restaurant 17 years ago, so I've seen the area and the fountain every day. I work 7 days a week, and I just see that, unfortunately, the area is really dead. There's nothing happening. As a restaurant owner, we've been waiting for opportunities like this to revive the energy and the interest of people into those areas. And especially after COVID, every single restaurant in the area almost closed. Some of us survived, and we survived because it's a great city with a lot of entrepreneurs, people that work hard, and this area has so much potential for people like us to bring interest, and that's also art, restaurants, food, music, tourism. People are really dying to see something happening there. That's for the culture of the city. I think that's really important. And then for the safety, I'm not qualified to talk about the safety, but one thing I can tell you as someone who's there every day is that it looks unsafe for the public. So whether you're a tourist or with your family, you walk around this area, you just don't really know what's going on. It feels unsafe, which keeps people away from the area instead of activating the area and bringing the culture and some vibrancy. So I see people trying to stay away, telling their kids, don't get close to this because I don't know what it is. It looks dangerous. Skateboarders using the space to have fun, but that's not safe either.
Thank you.
And I
Your
see that
time is
every
up.
day. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Next public comment.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jillian Sobel, and I'm a born and raised San Francisco resident, District 7. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and the Viancore Fountain is the most beautiful piece of polarizing public art I've ever seen. 50 years, it's been here over 50 years, and it needs maintenance, not removal. The fencing up has done its part. It's protected it. People don't go there anymore, except for the balls that fly over and people going to get the balls from the racquetball courts. I met this still living 96-year-old artist, and he is an amazing human being. He created a piece of art with the perseverance of the 1960s and 70s. And because of Rec and Parks Department's underinvestment in the piece, it is now up to this committee and you individuals to make a decision. I've worked public events, and I know public safety is number one, so I appreciated the fencing. However, removing it to do further research and further investigation seems like just kicking the can down the road. So this beautiful piece is eligible for the National Registry of Historical Places under criteria C3, A1 events and C3. So if there's money you are looking for, I know of private funding and public funding, state and federal, that can be used to help us, because this might be bigger than something that San Francisco's budget can handle. Yes, please vote not to move it and have it be lost into storage forever. And please vote now to keep the Viancore Fountain and show it some love and honor history and prepare for our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Good afternoon. My name is Crystal Bree. I'd like to speak for the removal of the Valancourt Fountain. The needs of the city have evolved. What once was art now stands as a barrier to connection, a massive unused structure that divides what could be a vibrant, inclusive community space. We have an opportunity to reimagine this plaza into something that reflects today's San Francisco, open, accessible, sustainable, and alive with people. Removing the fountain isn't about erasing art, it's about creating space for life, for local events, families, small businesses, and the everyday moments that build community. As a manager of Fitness SF Embarcadero, A park renovation gives us a space to organize small group classes open to the public and host events that promote health and wellness, especially to those who cannot afford the price of our gym memberships, which I see all the time. It was actually brought in to help keep our gym alive because it was facing the potential closing because that area is so dead, and I'm only just seeing it become revitalized, and I want to see that even further into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Hi, my name is William McLeod. I'm a photographer in San Francisco. I live in the Mission. I was born and raised here. I remember when the fountain was installed. I'm a huge, well, first of all, I want to know how many of you have walked through the fountain with the water on? Okay, it's okay. And how many of you taken your kids through the fountain with the water on? This fountain is not. This is not just a fountain. It's an experience. This is one of the most vital, incredible fountains I've ever seen anywhere in the world. It's really magical. In about 1940, Diego Rivera painted a mural on Treasure Island that is now in storage. It's, until it was at SF MoMA, most people never saw it except the, people who were at the theater building at City College, which has been planning on building a new, bigger building for it for years. But now it's in storage again. So if this moves, I understand the safety issues, although I don't understand some of the issues like asbestos and lead paint because those usually weren't mixed into the concrete. So every time I hear asbestos and lead paint brought up, I don't know if that's just the pump room, which would be really easy to remedy, or if it's actually something in the concrete fountain itself. It says that it's 29 seconds. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when I went to meet Armand Vaillancourt earlier this year, I was told by Park and Rec that this is the plan online was the Boston Properties plan. That Boston Properties wants to make it a beautiful plaza to enhance their buildings. I understand that. I understand the safety issues. I just want to make sure if you need to disassemble it, there's really a place for it, a path for it to come back because it really should come back. It is not just a fountain. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Bob Pullum. Nice to see you again. I'm a resident of Diamond Heights, board member of Docomomo NOCA and Docomomo US. I think you just heard it. BXP has been working with Rec and Park, wink, wink. Rec and Park is crying wolf to expedite their urban redevelopment. Thousands of buildings in San Francisco do not have adequate seismic protection. San Francisco's own data, updated last July 2025, shows that over 200 soft-story properties remain in the city. These are properties vulnerable to collapse in an earthquake. In March 2023, NBC Bay Area's investigative unit determined that over 3,000 concrete buildings are vulnerable to earthquakes and may need costly upgrades. According to the city, about 90% of the housing in San Francisco has leaded paint. While there are no official numbers, the majority of homes in San Francisco were built before 1978 and are likely to contain asbestos, especially in materials like insulation, flooring, and roofing. In other words, hundreds of thousands of San Francisco residents live and work in structures of risk at collapse during an earthquake and are potentially exposed to lead and asbestos on a regular basis. As you know, no San Francisco agency has declared these conditions representing a life safety emergency. At the same time, RPD and DBI would like you to believe that the potential for injury for a small number of determined individuals who engage with the fountain in unsanctioned ways is high. The city cannot have it both ways. Either we have an unprecedented public health crisis affecting billions of dollars in buildings and hundreds of thousands of people, or the city is constructing an artificial emergency to expedite a park renovation project to avoid their own legal responsibilities. I urge you to reject this attempt to turn the health of San Francisco residents into a scare tactic to accelerate the development plans. The only emergency here is that some powers to be are trying to railroad a new park in the first 100 days. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Hi again, Commission. I'm Ted Barrow.
And I curated an amazing show at the SFPL about skateboarding that was anchored around the Valancourt Fountain in the Embarcadero Plaza. Pausing for applause, okay. Over the past few months, debate has flared over the future of this park and the fate of its fountain. I've written in favor of preserving both, but I've also listened to the pervasive cold logic in favor of demolition. Members of the business community, primarily restaurant workers, unions, and local property holders, envision a plaza put to more active use, and we all want that. I'll acknowledge that nostalgia is one of my side's great weaknesses. It's hard to convince anyone of the cultural significance of a fountain that faced the plaza where modern street skating was born. Skateboarding didn't stay there, it moved out. The Brick Plaza has been remodeled several times, and there are paddle courts there now that negate a lot of what once made that plaza great. Thus, my history may not resonate with everyone. Nostalgia can be a toxic political platform, too. The real question is how we carry art and history forward in the city. So why not imagine a future that includes both progress and memory? A renewed plaza that could support concerts, open gatherings, and informal play, safe, sure, not just private paddle courts that cost a minimum of $40 per hour and $120 monthly to play, by the way. It could honor the site's layered history, including the culture of skateboarding born here. And the fountain itself, contentious as it may be, remains a brash and historic resource deserving restoration, not condemnation or demolition. Its neglect, as we know, is not the fault of the artists or public, but of the institutions that failed to maintain it. Its destruction is not a foregone conclusion. Don't villainize the Valancourt Fountain. And to reiterate, the historic report stated that this is not beyond repair. The ferry building was reinvented without erasing its past. We can do the same here. We may possibly foster a fabulous new public space, but we can't erase the 6 traffic lanes and 2 streetcar lines that separate the waterfront from the plaza. Why doesn't anyone talk about this? And thinking about the fountain itself is the issue here. It's plain wrong-headed. Yes?
Time is up.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Next public comment.
Mr. President, members of the Commission, my name is Alec Bash, Vice President, Gateway Tenants Association. We are the 1,254-unit apartment complex next to this park. And there's a lot to say about this. I moved here in 1971. The park had just opened. It was a brilliant response to the freeway there at that time. This is the best example of site-specific public art that I have ever seen. As my wife said, she loved it more than anybody else. But now it is a disaster in waiting. It is no longer a site-specific, appropriate piece of artwork for this plaza. And as an urban planner who worked for the city and the port for 30 years with a lot of background in planning, this is not the right piece of art to have there. It would be exactly the wrong piece of art there because it's a very broad structure that allows for approximately 30 feet passageway on each side of it. And if one wanted to merge the two parks, the Sue Bierman Park and the Embarcadero Plaza, you would never do it like that. You would never have it situated where it is now. So, unlike some other people who have spoken here, I think there's a choice here. Do we want to have the renovated, merged two parks there, a grand waterfront park, or do we want to keep this fountain there? I think a compromise has been presented, which would be to remove and store the fountain and assess further what it would need to be. I don't know where the best spot in the city would be for it. Perhaps Treasure Island, but I do know that this spot at the Embarcadero Plaza, at the gateway to the city from the ferry building, is not the place where you would want to have it. And is it red tagged? Well, what happens when you red tag something? You put a fence around it. There's a fence around it. Is it keeping people out? No, it is not. But I just want to thank you for this and note that most people living in the area want the park to proceed. It is something that would be a creating space for life, as one of the prior speakers had, and we urge you to consider this aspect of the urban realm. Thank you.
Next public comment.
Hello. I'll get my notes here. My name is Michelle Hennessy, and I'm on the board of the Barbary Coast Neighborhood Association. And we represent the folks living and working within the boundaries, which goes from the west side of the Embarcadero and north and south from Bay Street to Clay Street. As an association, we are in full support of the Recreation and Parks removal of the fountain at this time, which in turn will open up the area for the renovation and revitalization of the area on the city side At the time when the freeway went down, and for say 20 years afterwards, everybody worked on getting the renovation on the east side of the Embarcadero. We have not done anything on the west side, and that is where the plaza is. And with the opening up of Sir Bierman Park and making it in connection with the Embarcadero is just going to open up for the whole entire city. And so many more things that could be done, not only for our neighborhood, but for the whole city. You have the beautiful Ferry Building. People who are over there, they don't come over to this side. It's another way to help financially for the city to be not reinvented, but to revitalize itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment.
Good afternoon again, President Collins, and to the entire commission. As I said earlier, my name is Matt Joseph. Let's briefly review some facts. Between 2004 and 2024, the Vine Court Fountain appears not to have been the focus of any city discussion. Since BXP approached the city in at least early 2024, the Vine Court Fountain has been planned for removal. Apart from a cost assessment, no records can be found where any other option has been meaningfully conceptualized or rendered. The California Art Preservation Act that RPD wants you to use applies only to buildings, and as I'm sure we can all agree in this room, a plaza is not a building. The California Environmental Quality Act that RPD and Planning cite does not apply. It applies to only specific imminent danger, such as stabilizing a highway after a landslide or addressing imminent building collapse after an earthquake. RPD and planning records, which you are hopefully provided with, totals about 10,000 pages, show 4 key facts. They aimed for dismantling and removal since October 2024. They've known about the conditions for at least 6 months, including over 2 months prior to fencing. RPD is on the record as being interested in avoiding the CEQA process. Quote, if we are relocating it to avoid EIR, we need to determine where. They have a politically motivated timeline. And the takeaway based on these facts, the removal has been premeditated. This is an artificial public threat designed to bypass CEQA and advance a larger renovation project. For over a year, the project team appears to have pre-committed to a design without the fountain and is now doing post hoc rationalization, a direct violation under CEQA. And you're being asked to both misinterpret CEQA and misinterpret CAPA as part of this. And while we now live in a nation where artificial threats are routinely used to force through issues and override public concerns, this is an opportunity to stand firm. And as artists and patrons of the arts, find yourselves on the side of transparent and thoughtful public discourse that might still result in removal and push back on this attempt.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next public comment.
My name is Terry Kraus. Commissioners, thank you for your time. I'm a 24-year resident of the Gateway Apartments. Basically, Sue Bierman Park is my backyard. Change has happened in our city for more than the 50 years that this sculpture has been in our park. Change is constant, but change is loss. And we do need to acknowledge that if this change goes forward, as I hope it will, there will be a sense of loss. But this is a golden opportunity to revitalize my neighborhood. We have so many closed businesses, so many people who avoid the area because they're afraid. If we relocate the fountain, evaluate, do with it as you see fit later, but allow the construction of the park that will unite Embarcadero Plaza and Sue Bierman Park and give us the revitalization that Recreation and Parks has given to other neighborhoods with their beautiful reconstructed parks. Frankly, we deserve it. And it's at some risk to myself because I know that there will be more noise and more traffic and more congestion and I'll hear it from my apartment. But I think it's worth it for the greater good to do this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next public comment.
My name is Barbara Wentworth. I am a native San Franciscan. I remember when the Valancourt Fountain was installed in 1971. I was teaching school at the time, and it's before my children were born. But one thing I have learned over the years is that children are very much attracted to things like this fountain, It is a very interesting water or whatever, but incredibly dangerous. Do you understand, those of you with children, how much they love to climb on things like that? And I don't think we can protect that fountain from kids climbing on it. And all it's going to take is one child. One child. And, you know, you fall out of a tree, as Robert Louis Stevens said, you're holding your cherry tree and you fall out. You might break your arm. You fall off that Valancourt fountain and your head is going to be split open. Can you live with yourselves knowing that is the case? If there was some way, and I've really thought about this because I live in the Golden Gateway now, I've thought about how to protect that fountain, and I can't see how you can do it. But I'm just me. Maybe you can see a different way, but I've got to tell you, we have a moral obligation, and we have a fiduciary obligation to the city, because a lawsuit from some child who falls on that will set us back a long, long way, not to mention what it will do for a child. Thank you for taking time to listen to me.
Thank you. Any additional public comment?
Hi, Commission. My name is Nicholas David. I'm a reporter and a writer here, born and raised in San Francisco. I was planning on not commenting, but I just have to say I grew up playing in that fountain. I learned to swim at Golden Gateway just across the street, and I have extremely fond memories of running around that fountain, and I never once was hurt. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional public comment? Seeing none, public comment is now closed.
I always think it's a good idea just to pause for a second to make sure that there is no further public comment. I also want to express my great appreciation for the variety of voices that have spoken today. As a member of the San Francisco Arts Commission and as its presiding president, I again want to deeply thank the character of our city in being able to have civil conversation such as these. I am now going to repeat the motion so that we're clear about what the motion is and inherent in it what our action is. We have a motion to approve the removal of the Embarcadero Fountain by Armand Valancourt, SFAC accession number 1971.46, to protect the health and safety of residents and visitors from the identified structural deterioration, and to move it to storage following the provision of required notice to the artist and interested members of the community under the California Art Preservation Act, to allow for further investigation of the extent of deterioration to the physical structure and consideration of possible restoration, repair, relocation, repurposing, or other further actions relating to the fountain, and to affirm the Planning Department's determination under the California Environmental Quality Act that this action is statutorily exempt from further review under Section 15269 of the CEQA guidelines. This action constitutes the approval for the project for the purposes of CEQA pursuant to San Francisco Administrative Code Section 31.04H. I am now calling the motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Abstain.
Abstain. I need to have a roll call, please. No, I can't. I'm sorry. You cannot abstain.
Commissioners may not abstain. They do have to vote.
So, again, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Roll call.
Yeah.
Roll call. Okay, would you please call the roll?
Yes. We'll start from this end right here. Commissioner Carney?
Nay.
Commissioner Brenzel?
Yay.
Commissioner Benavides?
Nay.
Commissioner Quint?
Aye.
Commissioner
Poirier, didn't you second? No, who?
You did
You
second the
seconded,
motion.
so we need to.
Got to go back. Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and start with a motion.
You seconded it, so you can't.
I move to approve.
Is there a second to the motion?
Commissioner Quint, second.
Thank you. You will now call the roll.
Okay. Commissioner Carney?
Nay.
Commissioner Brenzel?
Aye.
Commissioner Benavides?
Can they say nay?
Nay. Commissioner Quint?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Commissioner Ferris?
Aye.
Vice President Shiota?
A painful aye. Thank you.
President Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Rothschild?
Nay.
Commissioner Beltran?
Another painful aye.
Sorry, what was that?
Another painful aye.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Moosley?
Nay.
Commissioner Shelby?
Nay.
And what is the vote?
It's 5-8.
The motion carries.
Motion carries.
I'm now calling agenda item number 9, which is new business and announcements. This discussion allows the commissioners to introduce without discussion new agenda items for consideration, to report on recent art activities, and to make announcements in accordance with Prop D. I'm seeing none. Is there any public comment on any new business or announcements?
For those joining in person, please proceed to the public comment podium and fill out the public comment information card. We are currently on item 9. As a reminder, your time will start when you begin speaking. You will see a visual timer on the podium and receive a 30-second audible warning before your time concludes. I'm requesting comments from those who are in person. Is there anyone who would like to make a public comment on the current agenda item? Seeing no request for public comment is now closed.
I am now calling agenda item number 10, which is adjournment.
SF Gov TV, San Francisco Government Television.
SF Gov TV, San Francisco Government Television.